Hi, it's Barry Z from The Barry Z Show, talking to the most gifted actor of all time, Mr. Craig BIERKO.
I think that's a fair assessment. I wish I was listening, but it sounded sincere.
You should be the next, you tell me who? Jimmy Stewart?
The actor?
Yeah. Eddie Marvin?
The actor.
Jack Nicholson?
The actor?
Yes.
Well, they're terrific.
So are you. You're incredible.
Thank you very much.
Where's your Academy Award?
Oh, one second. It's kind of painful and disgusting.
You all do that. Oh, thank you. We'll be right back with more Craig BIERKO right after these messages.
Next. All right, what's your name, honey?
I'm Barbara Z, and I'm innocent until proven guilty. Yeah.
Is that her?
Oh my God! Yes, it's her. It's that crazy Yenta.
That's it. We got it. Busted.
Say when.
When? Go ahead, start.
Happy holidays and welcome back to the Barry Z Show. Tonight we have a great new show with a great new guest, superstar Craig BIERKO. Wow.
Thank you. How'd you get him?
I don't know. I just walked into T-Mobile looking to pay a bill, and there you were there.
You know I'm not even a client.
With your dog.
That's right. My dog, Boo. Look down. Look, go south. Yeah. There she is. You've made a friend.
Why were you there?
Every time I go and get coffee and sit somewhere, I'm big on Twitter. I like to be on Twitter a lot. I don't mean I'm big on it. I mean I'm big on I like to do it.
You used to be big.
No. I mean,
You used to weigh a lot.
I'm still tall. Yeah, and I did. I weighed about 50 pounds more. But
How'd you lose it?
Enjoy. Please, only one of us can do the ADD at the time. Let me do it first. So I was at there because I had just come from a coffee place, and every time I go to get like a Starbucks, I put the address of the Starbucks I'm at, and I'm saying if anybody needs sunglasses or earphones for an iPhone, I'm at the Starbucks on 59th.
There we go.
Because I inevitably leave them there. And so I'm always buying, new earphones, and I've stopped buying very expensive ones. I have a nice set of expensive ones. My rule is I really don't take them out of the house.
So how did you end up at T-Mobile?
Well, I was walking by there, and even though I'm not T-Mobile, which I hear is very good, I'm on AT&T because I heard it was very bad. Not from them, because the call wouldn't go through for them to warn me that they were very, very bad. But I'm on AT&T, and they'll sell you an earphone is an earphone, or whatever, a headphone is a headphone. I can't get this doesn't seem a good place for my arm, does it? I don't want to go.
Are you doing hand puppet now?
I don't know.
Hand modeling?
I don't know if that's a term.
Did you ever do hand modeling?
No, I don't think I have very attractive hands. I mean, I don't have ugly hands, but I don't have beautiful hands.
I see.
I think my nails are all the way around a little small, and I can't foot model because when I was an infant, both nails on my big toes had severe.
But you have big thumbs.
Had severe hangnails, and now I have tiny little nails on my big toes, so they look like little spacemen.
That's cool.
It is kind of cool.
See, the Martians did land.
The what?
The Martians?
The Martians.
They landed on your toe.
They landed on my toe.
Yeah. Anyway, you have big thumbs. You know what that means?
Oh, yeah. I got big isotoners, right?
That you're a big man.
Yeah. I don't think that specifically has anything to do with your wiener, does it?
Yes, it does.
Can I say has to do with on cable? Okay.
It's a fallacy, right?
I don't know what that is or whose. I don't want to get into the Bible.
I can call some of your ex-girlfriends and find out if it's true or not.
No, you're not going to be a bad boy, because I'll have to throw you out. I'll get Big Julie in here and throw you out.
Well, let me tell you something. I am so lucky to run into this man who I go back and interviewed about, 10 years ago when you were in The Music Man?
It was 15. Go ahead.
But 15 years ago when you were in The Music Man on Broadway.
Yeah. That was a time of my life. It really was it was a great blessing because, well, first of all, The Music Man, honestly, as objectively as I can be, but I've thought this since I was a kid. It's the best American musical. I would say that and Guys and Dolls. They're the best, most solidly written and constructed, emotionally satisfying, and universally performable musicals, which means that you can go to a high school and see a competent performance and walk out of there and feel dazzled. As a matter of fact, Kate Jennings Grant, who played Sarah across from my Sky, had made a promise to a girl who lived in New Jersey, and she said, I just promised this girl in New Jersey I would go see their Guys and Dolls. She's a great girl, so she did it. Wow. She came back, and I said, how was it? And she said, better. They're better than we are. And I said, why? Well, we
came here to New York, and you started it.
No, we were already up and running. And this was the kind of...
Was it a paper mill?
No, it was here on Broadway. We did a Broadway revival, and that's how the people don't know it. We did it about 4 or 5 years ago, and it wasn't good. It wasn't well received, nor should it have been. It was overly produced, and it was. He's a very talented director, Des McAnuff, but the cast. I noticed it was one of the first things I ever did as a kid. I wasn't in it, but I saw my community theater.
It was only 5 years ago you did it.
It was only about 5 years ago. And
I covered it. I know that.
Oh, okay. Well, I played Sky, and Ollie North. Oliver Platt played, and Laura Graham played Adelaide, and
who did Donald Trump play?
Donald Trump played the people who didn't come.
There we go.
I can't imagine he came. But
You're a great stand-up comedian.
I'm not a stand-up comedian, but I revere stand-up comedians. As a matter of fact, I never really performed it per se. I got up a few times because I used to go out with Janine Garofalo, who is an excellent stand-up comedian. She's absolutely terrific.
Again, in the mic, we love her.
We is very impressed with her, always have been, and she said you should be getting up and doing this. And I've always admired them, and she said if it's only fear holding you back, do it. This was during...
Were you in the same movie with her, The Truth About Cats and Dogs?
No, I've never seen it. I've never seen it. But you got to the bottom of the truth about cats and dogs?
Yeah.
I've got to get into that with you later, because I'd love to find out what that truth is.
Say we're going to go back to that series. Or was that a play? No. Let's go back to the play.
Bathing with BIERKO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that we can find. You're going to give us a clip of that.
I'll send you a link to it. I took it all off YouTube because we did a second episode with a very famous actor.
Who was it?
And I'm not going to say because I'd like to get him to come back and do it the right way. And it's a learning process. And what I realized was he never took his shirt off. And so it wasn't awkward enough. And we realized, this is the opposite of what we thought. Mm-hmm. The actor is the straight man, and I'm more of the comic because I'm asking these insane questions. And we had him doing great stuff. He's very, very recognizable, but he was not comfortable taking his shirt off. And his wife and his daughter were in the bathroom going, "Dad, take your shirt off." It was the craziest situation.
Initials?
No, I'm not going to tell you. But he's hilariously funny. And I would like to get him back to do it. But I have had people who've expressed...
produce it.
Very big people have expressed, like, if you do it again, please bring me. And I will only do it under proper circumstances. The thing is, it has to be somebody who normally wouldn't do something like that, or it's not funny. It has to be a serious actor like John Malkovich. It has to be... The dream guest is Henry Kissinger. That'll never happen, but,
In the nude, everyone is.
Yeah. And be able to play it as though... Because talk shows are so absurd.
Oh, they are. Let me go back to one thing. That play you did off-Broadway with Kelly Ripa's husband, yes. Mark Consuelos, right?
Yes, the girl of my dreams.
Yeah. Yes. And you kissed him on stage.
I did kiss him on stage.
Wow.
Yeah, right in the...
What was that like? You're a great man, and you're kissing another man.
If what a gay man would feel like if he was kissing a woman, not correct, But the idea of the show... And I think what we were both committed to was, even though, but kiss like this was to sell, but it didn't look like we were kissing like that because we were getting married in the show. At the end of the show, it was a beautiful scene, and
marriage.
There was a marriage at the end of it, and it wasn't a play; it was a series of vignettes, and we played a couple in a piece that another piece that was written. It was a beautiful. That piece that turned out to be very dark, and one of us you realize isn't alive while we're telling it to you because we've been the victim of a gay crime, and that on our wedding night one of us was killed. So it ends happily. The only other time we do something together, we're a couple. That's it's the time for for anybody who loves each other should be able to marry. And the fact that we were all straight, it was never advertised that way, but we felt very strong as a cast. And the one place you don't need to sell this play and this idea was the Minetta Lane, right in the heart of,
What was the name of the show again?
it was called, it was the Gay Marriage Plays, but it had some other title that I can't, for some reason I can't remember. It was the Gay Marriage Plays, but it was a series of vignettes, and one of the most brilliant, beautiful, Harriet Harris was beautiful. Oh my God, she was so funny. But Richard Thomas, he did the next to last beat. They wanted to end it on an upbeat thing with the marriage, and but the second to last.
Married Richard Harris?
No, not Richard Harris.
I mean, you married
Thomas.
Richard Thomas.
He did a piece.
John Boy.
Yeah, and he did a piece as an older man, eulogizing his lover, and that right before the guy died, they legalized marriage, and he said, "Let's get married," and the guy said, "Fuck no, fuck no." No, it's
How long did it play?
He said, I resent, he said, I made it through Nixon, and I made it through, I'm proud of having survived. And then the whole thing was, I'm not going to be able to describe it as beautifully as the writer does, who is Israel.
Israel Horowitz?
No, the other one. I'm so sorry. Because
Play a long time?
we played for about 3 or 4 months, and it's the kind of thing that should still be playing, but it's the kind of thing that should be in more liberal areas of the South, where people could see something because they were adventurous, and it would say, "We're all people. There's no thing to be afraid of.
You all bleed red, right?
Yes, we all bleed red. We're all these disgusting bags of stew in a dermal pita. That's all we are. It's all it is. Get that thing off my chest, man.
Was that the first time you played a gay role?
Well, the first time I played a gay role was in college, and I did a play called 5th of July.
Oh, yeah.
And there was, but it wasn't, but there was nothing, they indicate that the two characters are gay. They have a quick peck at the beginning that establishes it. But there was really nothing else other than sitting next to each other or anything like that. But there was a great affection between them. And this play, they didn't want to make any. They wanted to show you that love was love, but there was nobody like making out or like, doing anything carnal together. And I got offered a play a couple of years ago by a prominent playwright I've always wanted to work with, and I called the director. I'm not going to say. Because then somebody else did the part. But I called the playwright and I said, it opens with these two characters making out, which is, I don't understand that, because I'm calling you as a straight guy and I'm an actor and I've played gay, but I don't want to shortchange the audience or the play and make it all about me getting past something that I just don't know that I'm comfortable with. Like, I wouldn't play a guy jumping out of a plane who really had to jump out of a plane, And it's just not. And so and he said, well, it's not quite making out, but it's not a little quick peck either. It's closer to making out. And I said, I think I'm going to give this to the play and just say,
You did.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I said, I don't think I should have to spend more than a certain amount of time getting past something, which could be something like dancing. I'm terrified of dancing. I'm not a good dancer. I have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard as anybody else.
You haven't been on Dancing with the Stars?
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it. I don't deserve. There are so many people who deserve to be on that. Before, I'm not a dancer. Susan Stroman saw the way I moved and said, "I'm going to make you dance, but you're going to have to work really hard." And I did.
Was in The Music Man.
And I did, and I did. I've never worked that hard in my life, and I was able to get to a point where, most dancers, professional dancers, can get to after seeing something done once. These guys were amazing, but after 2 months of rehearsal and a little bit of the previews, I finally, in the simple stuff that I had to do, got a little taste of letting go and flying. And I thought, what an amazing experience just for that, of being able to feel like what these guys, now I know why they do it. All that hard work is to get to this feeling of letting go and expressing with a good choreographer like Susan Stroman, to actually be blessed with memories of feeling as though just a taste of what it is to fly. Like somebody lets you pilot a plane for a second. And, it was.
You won a Tony Award, didn't you?
I was nominated. I didn't win it. I didn't win it, and I bought. Well, thank you, but I came with my mom, and that was the magic of it. And I knew what I would say if I won, but I didn't expect to win. I didn't expect it, but I knew I had something ready to say about the women in my life, and Rebecca who played Rebecca Luker, my mom, and Susan Stroman.
Now I have a question for you. You're known as the most eligible man in Hollywood or on Broadway, right? Or both.
I don't know if
East and West Coast. East and West Coast.
Do you think if you asked one person and said, well, who's the most eligible? They might say, who's the oldest, most eligible? And is it because, I mean, does he have a problem? I love women. I can, aside from what most people think, I'm very shy when it comes to approaching women. And when I find myself with somebody and I'm in love with them, I'm very passionate. And, you only have to make a few turns and go, there have been times where I've walked away from things, and looking back, I think I'm not so sure I should have.
You said you've walked away from roles before. Was it because you had a sexual attraction to these women?
No. I would never walk away from a role because I had a sexual attraction to a woman. I'd just go, listen, you know what a dressing room or a trailer is for? You go, and if you're sexually attracted to somebody, you go and you temporarily unicize yourself, and so that there's no honestly, there's no. I've the proverbial, the shat where I worked once. It will never, ever happen again. It was the least positive experience of my life. And I actually had to sit somebody down and say, because they were upset on stage and brought some of it on stage, and I had to tell them, I'll make you disappear. You can't do that on stage. A little soap opera that we've got going is not interesting to people who are paying $90 to see a story. You ever do that again, and I'm not saying that I'm going to make you disappear. I'm saying, this is a business of reputation.
Were these with men too?
With what?
With people who were coming on to you and wanted to go to bed with you?
No. I've never had that problem. I don't think there's any. I actually went up to a lot of my friends are gay, and a lot of times I'm working in shows. I love gay men. They're the funniest guys in the world. And I went up to one guy. I just love this guy so much, and I said, "How am I doing with the gay?" He goes, "You're doing great. You're doing great." I go, "Would any gay man ever think?" And he goes, "No." I said,
who was this man?
I'm not going to say who it was, but he said, but he's an excellent dancer. He's maybe not somebody you'd know his name, but he works consistently and and he's a brilliant dancer. And I said, how do you? But he's very plugged into that scene. I go, how can you say that? Why wouldn't anybody? And because I was a little, why not? He said, because there's not one gay man in the world who would leave their house with their hair looking like that. I said, it's just obvious. Why waste our time?
He was talking about you at the time, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what it's looking like right now, but usually it looks like my brain's exploding.
Was it TT?
What?
Tommy Tune?
No, it wasn't Tommy Tune. I've never had the pleasure of meeting him.
That's great.
I've never seen him.
Anyway.
Any hoozle.
Go back to then. Christian Chenoweth. What about Christian? You were rumored to having an affair with her, right?
No. If I was ever rumored to having an affair with Kristen Chenoweth, it would have been that's a benefit and it's a feather in my cap, but it never happened. She was somebody that I knew of. It was sort of.
She's like 4 foot tall. No?
She was, if that. She's like a little piece of confetti. She's a piece of confetti that got away and exploded and became Kristen Chenoweth. She's so talented, and she's so beautiful. She's so genuine. And I'd seen her, and I didn't see her in Charlie Brown, but I'd heard how talented she was, and I was trying to get a production going of it.
Covered her in that.
You did?
Charlie Brown.
Oh, that must have been annoying for her. Gotta get up off of her. That's not funny. But anyway, I
Do too well as far as Hairspray went.
I never saw the production of Hairspray, and I can't imagine.
NBC version that was televised was a real bomb.
I will tell you, well, that doesn't say anything about Kristen Chenoweth. Kristen Chenoweth she can't hold an entire production or can't be responsible for an entire production that maybe shouldn't have been on TV, should be on TV. Anything Kristen Chenoweth does is going to be expertly rehearsed, and she will be prepared, and she will not appear. It's not my instinct. It's why I never do galas or anything like that. Is that I can't look at something and then go out on stage. And
I don't work with Christian.
I worked with her one time where I had gotten the rights to a show called Little Mary Sunshine, which was something I did in high school. And Ellen Burstyn did the original production. So what they need, and Ellen Burstyn used to play. Was it Ellen Burstyn? No, it wasn't Ellen Burstyn. I'm getting the name wrong. It was not Ellen Burstyn. It was she was in Private Benjamin. She played the
Goldie Hawn?
No, the older one.
Oh, it was.
Jim, what's her name? And I can't. I'm so sorry that I'm bad with names, but it's more age.
Some kind of stroke or accident.
Our research department. In her day, one of the first things that she did was she played Little Mary Sunshine, and she played it as the way Dean Martin played his character of Dean Martin, which was
She was also in Chicago.
She played it like slightly drunk. Eileen Brennan. Eileen Brennan made the decision to play, and it was all Nelson Eddy and Jeanette MacDonald. Excellent work. And it was done very straight, but she played it as slightly drunk. For no
That character come from, what was it, Chicago, the musical? There's a Mary Sunshine in that.
No, this was something quite different. This was a takeoff from the '60s, early '60s, called Little Mary Sunshine, and it was Boynton. Somebody Boynton was the I think the composer and author. But anyway, it was really fun to do, and it was all stout-hearted warriors, and and Canadian bounties, and Little Mary Sunshine and the Indians, and it's very, very cute. But we'd become too hip for it to be funny anymore. It was a little too trite, but she was brilliant in it.
She started it with you, no?
Yeah, and I said, "Will you do this with me?" Because we wanted to sell one of the theater companies in town on producing it, and they were honest. I've done that a couple of times. One time with Janine, I wanted to do a Christopher Durang play called Laughing Wild, which is one of my very favorite plays, and I actually saw Christopher Durang do it. He said, "You know what? That's an interesting idea. Come to my office and read it." And I said, "Even better, let us get an audience of students together. Come in, we'll put together a reading of it. So come and see it that way. Plus, with laughs and everything, because it's a very funny show." He saw it. He was very kind, and then he wrote us a beautiful letter, and he said, "This is a play about two people who, if they don't make this work, they first meet each other in their dreams. Very strange play, very beautiful play. They meet each other like having nightmares, and it's too. I will belittle it to explain it, but it's beautiful and lyrical. And
Did it ever make it?
yes, it made it off Broadway. Oh well, our production, no. He said, I don't feel good about it, but you guys are both excellent. You're too young, and even when I did the reading of it, you need to feel like if these people don't make the play is about, we're getting towards the end of an era. This was towards the end of the '90s when he wrote. He said, we're getting towards the end of an era where if we don't make connections with each other, I think we're all going to fly off into space, and that's what I'm trying to write about. And you're kind of young to be playing that. When you play these parts, I feel like if this doesn't work out, you'll have another chance."
How tall are you, by the way, Chris BIERKO?
Chris BIERKO, who's my brother, I haven't any idea. We haven't spoken or met, nor does he exist. But my name's Craig BIERKO. Thanks for
Did I say Chris?
Oh, Jesus Christ, no. I insist you live that.
Did I announce it correctly when I introduced
My stationery says either Greg or Craig BIERKO, and I'm thinking of adding Chris now. I don't care, because I'll get everything. You know what I'm like on that?
Inheritance-wise.
What?
Inheritance-wise?
Inheritance? I'm talking about fame. I'm that level of fame where I tell people, I can't go to the mall anymore. Because by the time I track everybody, by the time I catch everybody and explain who I am, all the stores are closing. So I can't go.
I can't believe I said Craig.
It's Chris.
It's Chris.
No, it's Craig. You're an idiot.
You're right. When it comes to a handsome man like you, we're all idiots. When it comes to Donald Trump, we're all idiots.
Oh God.
We lose our way when we see a man like that. Do you still get residuals from Marooned?
The movie? Sure. Yeah. I get very uncomfortable letters from Gene Hackman too.
What was he like?
I was very young and may have sent the wrong signals.
And what other movies were you in?
Seeing them, I saw Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was one of the first movies I ever saw.
What about Tootsie?
I saw Tootsie. I enjoyed it. I didn't think I would enjoy it because I thought, oh, a guy dressing up as a girl. But I liked it. It was very funny. It was funny enough to overcome the most boring mistaken identity thing that you never see in real life. I mean, we have people who are turning themselves into girls and you don't believe it. You deal with it.
For real?
Yeah, well, you're like a person who has their sex change. There are others who pull it off very well, but if you don't have that natural, effeminate, blessed with that natural, sometimes you have an 8-foot, guy walking around. Just God bless them. They should live and express their life the way that they want to. They should have every freedom, and we should support them. But there's some you buy. You're like, listen, I'm sorry, you got born in the wrong body, but boy, did you get a worse deal than some of the guys. You're driving around in Impala. And
did you ever meet RuPaul?
I've never met RuPaul. If he heard what I just said, and he does meet me, I hope he takes a shot right across my face. I hope he knocks me out. I don't mean it in an insulting way because I support everybody who wants to express whoever they are. They should have the freedom to do that.
That's the key to all this, to this transgender, transsexual, mode of life.
It's not.
Because if they don't have a good undergarment to support whatever it is and hide what it is, then
lost me there. But to get the goddamn thing off my chest, I just am very uncomfortable with you not having the strength to hold up a microphone. I'm worried. I just think
they have to hold what it is, so it doesn't pop out.
I just feel like anybody has the right to be whatever they are, and if it makes you feel uncomfortable, that's even better because you have to fight your own. It's not a prejudice. It's a feeling of, oh, I'm not that way, but somebody else has the right to be that way. And the minute
you play a drag role,
I would play a drag role in a minute. Yeah, I'm finding, and it might be the project that pulls me in, that pulls me over a line.
But Tom Hanks did it in Bosom Buddies.
No, he didn't do it in Bosom Buddies. Well, he wore drag in Bosom Buddies, but he didn't have that kiss until Philadelphia. And he had to grow as an actor. He had, I don't know if those roles were available to him then, but, this is a serious guy. I think the reason he's so good is because he knows precisely who he is, and I think he has a sense of how fortunate and what kind of position he's in. I've met him and had the fortune to be able to work with him. It was only for 2 weeks. I did a workshop production of the play that he did on Broadway. And I spent 2 weeks with him, and I felt he made a genuine effort to connect with everybody in the cast. And that was a formidable task because there were like 12 of us. And he had a personal relationship with everybody. And when we all said goodbye to each other, he looked right in your eye, gave you a hug, and it was a genuine experience. He was one of the few people in Hollywood you just go, wow, you're exactly the Tom Hanks I hoped you'd be. So few people are. And, and you realize, sometimes you meet people and go, oh, that's right. They have a likable looking disposition.
Anti-hero look, right? They
speak words that brilliant people write, and so they come off like this thing. And Tom Hanks was one of these people I met, and I went, boy, I bet the strength it takes to be able to maintain that demeanor, because I've met people who can be very unpleasant, and I get it. It's a lot.
Okay, he's kind of, irritating sometimes to talk to in an interview.
Yeah. Why?
Because somebody said to me once, I'm funnier than Tom Hanks, or they knew who I was over him, and he was upset.
Well, that's because, I can understand that. That's all that is a human sensibility. Well, yeah, wouldn't you like the fact that he's like, it's jealousy, and he doesn't shut you out, or he's actually experiencing what funny people experience. Do you ever talk to a comedian who's been doing it for 13 years, and you say something funny, and they're like, "That's funny." That's them laughing. That's funny. If you say something funny to Tom Hanks, He laughs, and it's a great feeling. If you sit like I worked with Larry David, you crack Larry David. You see it on his show. You crack him up, and he laughs because he never got lost in whatever that crap.
He at my comedy club. He said to me, "Do you think I'll be okay? And funny enough to go on stage tonight." I said, "If you don't get out there now, I'm going to kick you in the ass and get you on stage."
And didn't he go on stage? I don't know if this was a myth, but he'd go on stage and someone didn't laugh, and so he threw change at them. Was that him, or would he just walk off the stage? A handful of change.
Jewish. He doesn't want to give change away.
That's right. So maybe I'm making it up.
Tom Hanks was great in a movie called Big.
Oh, he was terrific. He's terrific in everything. I love him most when he's playing a version of himself. But I learned, but that was a very young notion. Like I used to get upset, like when Steve Martin stopped playing the wild and crazy guy, and then now I have, having read his book, I have such respect for. I didn't know that it took him 10 years to get to the point where he was able to fill up Nassau Coliseum, and it wasn't comfortable with it. I mean,
what are you talking about now?
Steve Martin, and I that's when I saw him. I saw him at Nassau Coliseum, and it was that magic golden rock star period. And then he did it for 4 years, decided he didn't want to do it anymore, and now he's learned to pull that charisma back so he can walk into a room and just go enjoy some art and be very quiet. It's a remarkable.
And not have to get up and perform.
Yeah, he can perform, and he can turn enough of that light and just have his reputation precede him, but he can also walk into a restaurant and not have that reputation. Even though the reputation precedes him, he can turn off. I've seen celebrities do that.
Did you ever work with Robin Williams?
No, I never had the fortune. I met him very briefly backstage once, and I wish I had. It was a beautiful, the best part of the 1960s sensibility of had experimented and seen some things and brought love forward into the world.
Whoopi Goldberg gave me the quickest interview once. I said to her, "What are you doing here?" I was invited.
That was it?
Walked away.
No. My experience with Whoopi Goldberg, other than I kindly invited over to her apartment once to play cards, and I don't enjoy playing cards, but I happened to be sitting with Eric Bogosian, who I'm fascinated with, and I got to talk, and he's so open about his art, and honestly taught me about like how he starts. I was like, when he would do all those monologues about how hard he'd work and what his process was, fascinating. And the other time I spoke to Whoopi Goldberg was a friend of mine was doing Long Day's Journey into Night. Yeah, that wasn't the show that I saw. I saw him do impaling nails into my forehead with my forehead or what it was, and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. He was brilliant. He was a revelation. But then the other Whoopi Goldberg story was I went to see my friend doing Long Day's Journey into Night. I'd made it through acting school without seeing O'Neill. I couldn't imagine anything more. I was like, it sounds just so totally boring. But I couldn't get, my friend was doing it. Of course, I had to go see it. And of course, it's a masterpiece. So within 10 minutes, I'm watching it like a 16-year-old girl watches Melrose Place. This is fantastic. Caught up in 75 intermissions. And during one of them, I used to smoke back then. I'm smoking outside, and I hear, "Just like my family." And I turn around, and it's Whoopi Goldberg. And I went, "That's a masterpiece, isn't it? Because it's just like mine." And she slugged me across the face and knocked me out. No, but she was very kind. She goes, "Yeah, it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece that you recognize everybody in that play."
Before we leave,
Yes.
we need to make sure we discussed all your credits. What did we leave out?
I got a great head of hair. I think a healthy head of hair. Good skin,
Yeah. What else?
Good. I got a nice attitude. I don't
say you got a nice ass.
No, I have a nice ass, but I have to do my squats. I got to keep at it, because other than that, if not, then IMAX will come after me. I have a contract with IMAX. My ass will be shot with IMAX lenses.
Did we leave out any other movies or plays?
No, I think you mentioned. But I'm not going to sit here and list my credits.
Why not?
Why don't you go home and do some homework?
Someone has to.
Someone has to. Not the guy who's calling me Chris BIERKO. I mean, that's.
Did I say that?
And come on now, man. You got to do some wrist exercise.
Anyway. Well, I have limp wrists. What's wrong?
Don't move for a second. You won't feel. You know what? It's going to hurt you less than anybody else in the room.
You're right. Anyway, watch the dog.
Okay.
Don't harm the dog. And anyway, So do we get all your credits? Broadway, off-Broadway,
List them in my
movies.
The Cinderella Man, Music
Cinderella Man. Tell me about it.
Well, those are
Cinderella Man.
Those superheroes. Did all these superheroes movies together, but you never see
movie. Cinderella Man.
Yeah, it was a movie.
Did you start it?
The Russell Crowe, Renee Zellweger.
She once said, "Hi, I'm Renee Z, and you're watching Barry Z."
Did she really?
Yeah, she did.
Well, I don't have any respect for that. She was very nice. It's still, I imagine, very nice. Paul Giamatti.
Cinderella Man.
Well, he was in the movie. Yeah, I'm not just saying people's names.
Oh, weren't you?
Crazy person. I was not the star. He was more. I was a supporting role. I played Max Baer, who was the heavyweight champ, and the father of Max Baer Jr., who I've spoken to on the phone and I love. He's become a friend of mine.
He was on the Beverly Hillbillies.
Hillbillies. He played
live.
Yes. He lives. I think he's in California. And I called him up after a few years, and I said, because I had heard that he wasn't happy with the portrayal of the father as kind of a villain in the movie, and I knew that too. I had done enough research to know that he was actually a terrific guy, and he and who played Max Baer, I did. That's why I was talking about it. Yeah. Not just mentioning movies I've seen. Kramer versus Kramer, I could have mentioned. Not in that.
You in that too?
No. He's
What
tired.
else were you in?
He's tired. How do you get him to wrap it up? Because now he doesn't.
No, I don't want to leave any of your credits out.
No, well then just fall asleep and leave that on my chest, and I'll talk here until I'm done.
What about artwork? What about writing? Books?
What about it? I like them too. What do you like? You like books? Or
Black
artwork?
woman.
Oh, this is a picture of my brother. This is Scott BIERKO. No, this is a picture of Scott BIERKO is a very talented musician, but this is a picture that I just saw and I thought it was beautiful, so I bought it.
Beautiful.
It's the pocket size when my ass gets fat.
I can see. Wow.
And then some of my other artwork is just crazy, but I've got it.
Did we leave anything else out? I love your artwork here. What is that? Who's that?
I don't really know the origins, and that little tiny fighter, like they're all pieces. I can show you. Here, you don't have to turn the camera. Don't move it.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Look at that.
But these pieces, like right here, I'll show you a couple of things.
This is incredible. I want to buy your statue of Frank Sinatra. That you created.
I'll sell it to you. These are hand-painted photographs of people practicing.
Can I touch it?
Please.
Oh,
And they're great, but if you look at the detail, it's actually quite beautiful. And there's a
move too.
there's a store up the street. Oh God, I want to advertise for them, and I can't remember their name.
Who cares?
I care, but anyway, the guy gets enough traffic in there. But it's one of my favorite art stores, and and it's where I bought almost everything. Not this, but I bought the original Muhammad Ali. You can take a shot of it as you're leaving if you want.
You also talked about how you got this apartment.
Yes, I got this apartment through a realtor because I had been living with my mother for about a month. After I finished the first season of Unreal, I was going to get married.
To who?
A person, a girl, and it didn't work out. And so I ended up. I was going to move to Los Angeles, and all of a sudden it didn't work out. And I was like, I am living one of the funniest jokes I've ever heard. The dear departed Gary Shandling. Oh, what a loss!
You know him personally?
No, we've been in contact with each other, and he knew that I boxed a little bit, and he opened a boxing gym because he was into boxing. But he would DM me sometimes, on Twitter, send me a personal message, and I got to ask him all kinds of. I saved the whole conversation. He was very funny, but he was so warm, and beyond that, and what I do wish is that. Because I write as I become more and more of a serious writer.
Are you a boxer?
Advantage of not seriously, just trained for the movie, but I enough to understand why a good boxer is a good.
Which movie again was this?
Cinderella Man, you idiot. We haven't talked about anything. Kramer versus Kramer. That was the Kramer versus. It was Kramer versus Max Baer. Wow. And it was good. It was me and Dustin Hoffman, and we had a wonderful time. No, well, it depends.
You were Midnight Cowboy.
What?
Were you in Midnight Cowboy too?
No, get him out of here.
No, but wait a minute. I want to buy this Frank Sinatra.
No, I can't.
No.
I'll
Tell me about it.
I'm going to make a mold of it. I'm not going to. I'll make a mold of it, but I'm still working on it. You want to look at it?
Yeah, show it to our audience. Of course they want it. We all want Frankie.
Keep in mind,
It's Frankie.
I've never sculpted before. I just thought my hands felt thirsty to do it. So this is just the beginning.
Wow.
a sort of rough draft, if you will, of a sculpture that I mainly mean to be fun. And imagine he's got hands,
Oh, his hands came off.
right? But I'm trying to find, and just the era of him that I saw him perform, which was
Strangers in the Night.
yes, that Frank Sinatra.
Wow, incredible.
I saw him perform when he was 70. My mother took me to see him perform in Carnegie Hall, and he was in front of a 100-piece orchestra. And my memory is of him alone on stage. That was how charismatic he was. He made the whole orchestra disappear in my memory.
You have Christmas wishes or New Year's resolutions for us?
My Christmas wish is for everybody to remain healthy, and for you know what my Christmas wish, my genuine Christmas wish is whatever happens with this very scary place that feels like we are at with the leader of our country. Whoever ends up being the leader of our country, may he or she make this a better, safer world and not drag us down into what feels like a great deal of darkness. And if that happens, may we rise up as a people and save ourselves.
I thought Hillary was going to set a precedent for the presidency.
Even in terms of becoming the first woman?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm less concerned with, I think those are all nice decorations. The color, the sex of but it becomes unremarkable. I mean, look how shortly it took for people to become unimpressed with our first black president and, jump down his throat. And it's so ugly and venal, and we need to come together as a country. And I hope we don't have to get slapped around too much before we learn to do it, or risk losing what we have. I don't like countries anyway. I just think it's such a stupid idea. The way I look at it is we're all on this ball in the middle of some black freezing cold vacuum, and we're all punching each other out for where we get to stand on the ball. It all feels a little stupid because we're all fucked. We're all, we're circling this giant fire. Doesn't end well for any of us. So, I just hope we make this trip around the sun may each one get a little more pleasant.
What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up?
Mexican. Yeah, I don't want to go down and piss on that wall.
Okay.
I'll go down and piss on that wall anyway.
What about you doing any movie remake or any Broadway show that
there are a few
performed?
There are a few I think I'd like to go back and remake that are mine.
Well,
but
how about it? What shows would you like to see revived and star in? A movie or a show?
I don't think about that. I actually, the one thing I would think, and I don't know if I'd like to go back and do it again, but I know that I feel that, and I felt this when I was cast, but I wasn't going to turn it down, that the one thing about The Music Man, and people love the show, is that this is a story about two people. It's a salesman. If he doesn't realize that he's in love and goes back on the road, and if this girl stays in this small town after being in love and makes the ultimate sacrifice of letting him go, which was a genuine gesture, they're going to end up alone. If they're going to have to make the choice for each other, which is ultimately, no spoilers, but it ends happily. But it makes you believe every night that they're so close to losing what's really important. And I feel closer to the appropriate age. That the guy should be a little bit. This is the age where you make those decisions.
You should be starring in it again, right?
That would be a revival.
Singing 76 drum.
I told Matthew Broderick when he did the movie. I said I have nothing against. I think you're fantastic. I'm a huge fan. And had I not done The Music Man, I would watch it, and I would love any version of that play. It's a magical play for me, but I won't be watching it. And I want to tell you beforehand, I don't think I would ever watch it unless I go back as Meryl Till myself in a play or a revival, but more likely take my son one day. But it's too emotional. I had too much of an experience. I got to meet Shirley Jones. I got to meet so many people who knew Robert Preston and said, I think he was riding around it. I think he enjoyed the shit out of it. And I had such a wonderful cast around me that helped me. It was my first show ever, and they were so positive and beautiful. And Susan Stroman, in many ways, I owe my career to. And I just, I don't know that I would want to go back and do any other version of it unless it was her directing it, and we just went, let's go back at this, at this age.
And the person that I remember most from that show, the Music Man, is Craig BIERKO.
Oh, he was all right.
Oh, incredible.
I'm Chris. I'll tell him. You're doubting yourself for a second.
So what's next for you? Where can we see you on Lifetime?
Yes, on Lifetime, in your Lifetime, I'm on a show that I'm really proud of now called Unreal that stars Shiri Appleby and Constance Zimmer. They're terrific. It's a show about what goes on behind the camera of a show like The Bachelor, and it's written and created by. It was created by a woman named Sarah Gertrude Shapiro, who is also the head writer, and we're going into our third season, and it's a landmark. And also we were the first show. Lifetime wanted to rebrand themselves. Like it was not TMC. What was it? Was it the AMC did with Mad Men? And so they really stuck it out with us, and we got really dark. The first 2 seasons are very dark, and the third season, I have no doubt, is going to be really dark, but funny. And both Constance and Shiri are great. Shiri directed an episode, which is truly great. Shapiro directed an episode, which is truly great. And when they're not doing that, we have this brilliant guy. Peter O'Fallon, who is really, I think, responsible for creating this unique look of the show. And I get to play a flipped out, formerly drugged out. In the first season, I'm drugged out, and then just kind of nuts as a guy who's having his empire taken over. I'm the executive producer of the show, but I really get to play a role unlike anything I've ever gotten to play before. It's a gas.
What's the name of it again?
It's called Unreal, and it's on the Lifetime Network, and you should seek it out. You can download it, or you can watch it on Hulu. Now you can catch up before the third.
What's the scheduled time for this?
I don't. It's usually Mondays at 10 on Lifetime, but go watch it on Hulu. Catch up now.
And serialized then.
It's serialized. Yeah.
And your new movie is coming out?
I've had a couple of new movies come out recently that I'm very proud of. I did one called Fair Market Value with it stars Michael Bublé's wife. I don't remember. I'm not great with names, but she's beautiful and very funny, and it's directed by my writing partner Kevin Arboway. And that's how we met, actually. We started joking around behind camera, and she was like, let's try and write something, and now we're working on like 7 projects. And then another movie called Equity, which is just opened in Japan, but it was playing here and won all kinds of festivals. And it's just been really nice. I've been doing some great stuff that's been with really talented independent people. That was written by people from actresses from Orange is the New Black. And
television? Do you have a series coming up?
It's Unreal. We've discussed it. I'll go through it again if you want.
What else are we missing out?
Just the show Unreal. That's it. And then how my dog who's sleeping. Look at how captivated. There's an idea of what you're doing to the audience.
You mean I put him to sleep?
And it's also an idea of what you were like during this interview. That really captures the essence of the man who just halfway through an answer you feel.
No, it's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
You're wonderful. Is there anything you want to write? A play,
Yes.
a movie, something?
The person I was talking to when you walked in was somebody I'm writing a television pilot with, and we're onto something that it was an idea that was introduced to me 15 years ago. And
What is it about?
I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to tell you it's incredibly exciting, and I'm really, really excited. If it even goes to pilot, I'll be thrilled. But it's the kind of thing nobody's ever seen anything like it before. It's something that is absolutely new and fresh.
Network, right?
Yeah.
Well, can I have a starring role?
Of course you can. Why wouldn't I promise you something like that? You can't even stay awake while I'm talking. That's what I want surrounded by me.
I'll play the drunk on the subway.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Anyway, no, I'll sleep on the subway. Remember
Okay.
that song?
I'll sleep on the subway, Charlie.
Yes.
Don't think in the Charlie.
Who sang that?
Gilbert
Till
Gottfried.
the clock.
Petulia Clark and Gilbert Gottfried.
Wow. So, do we have all your latest achievements here?
Yes, I won the archery award in Camp Wigwam, second place. I have an award for participation from the Blind Brook High School, which means I stood next to people who did things.
Is there a website?
For the participation awards, I don't know. For me, I don't have one. I'm building one. Oh, it's going to be exciting, and but I don't have one now. I'm on Twitter at Mr. Craig BIERKO. Follow me. It's like a party every night.
Wow. Is that your real name, BIERKO?
Craig BIERKO, yeah. And then you put a Mr. in front of that because there's a fake Craig BIERKO on there for some reason. Like that guy was having a slow day. And then I'm on Instagram at Mr. Craig BIERKO. And I'm looking at all these social networks. I'm on Facebook. Look for Craig BIERKO.
Okay, now let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
We have your New Year's resolutions, right?
No, you got my Christmas wishes, which was for the guidance for our leaders and the willingness to save America should they not. And so I'm basically wishing for the strength of America. And but my New Year's resolution, as always, is to keep on doing what I do, which is to mentally control the Mexicans.
Fabulous. You know what's
Bigger job than you'd think.
Yeah. You know what's incredible about you? You could play Trump in the movie version. Oh. Yes, you could.
No, I'm saying.
Would you?
I think they did a TV movie version, or they were going to, and I think
Baldwin?
I was up for it. No, this was a TV movie that was probably about 10 years ago, and I thought, oh, that'd be kind of interesting. He's the realtor guy, but it would, let's see how things play. It would depend on what kind of movie it was,
Yes,
what
Mr. President
review is. But I'm not impressed right now, and I have experience with. I can't diagnose the guy. They seem to be,
Democrat or Republican?
I'm a Democrat, but I would say there's so many issues that are. It's hard to say one or the other. I don't even think Republicans understand that they're not Republicans now. They've been co-opted into a mishmash of hate groups, and same with the Democrats. I don't understand either party. I like a lot of the independent guys, but I know that unfortunately, with the way the media works, you're throwing your vote away. I look at someone like Ralph Nader, and I will still say we weren't ready enough for him. We didn't understand it, so we had to kill him.
Would you take the $400,000 a year salary if you were elected?
Well, it depended what my own situation was. But I think if you're president, you are at least guaranteed a speaking engagement tour. And while you're there, you're getting 3 meals a day and a ride in a nice car. There we go. People trying to make sure that you're not getting shot at,
You're right. I heard you're a cook.
No. No.
Did you like the movie Jackie?
I didn't watch it. Is it good?
No, I haven't seen it. Who's the woman that you want to play opposite the most of?
That's an interesting question. I've never been asked that before. I would like, it's a very easy one, but I would like to play opposite somebody who I know you better come with your game.
Renee Zellweger?
I would love these are your name people, and I'll say I would love to play with them. But somebody like Meryl Streep, who's extraordinary, and who it's almost like if you're not holding your end up, you'll be able to tell. And because I love working with truly great actors and actresses and spending time with them and seeing. They're 9 times out of 10. Maybe it might even be higher. I've met Meryl Streep before, and I found her to be so genuine and present and the friends that I have the most respect for in terms of their gift are so blatant and unapologetically honest about themselves first, and supportive in a way that feels genuine. That I really think honesty and integrity, it's all wrapped up in a lot of these people. They seem free of a narcissism, and if the narcissism is there, they have a relationship with it where they understand where its place comes and where it doesn't belong. And someone who someone I would say, and maybe I will be able to think of other fine actresses like Judi Dench.
You do accents, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how well I do them. In my head, they sound okay, but I don't have that great in here. I have to work on them. But people who demand, whose work is so extraordinary that you have to offer back honesty. You have to prepare, and also so much of it is the director. I don't like, and have had so many experiences working with uninspired or directors who are unprepared and who will throw you under the bus.
I got to get you a gig with Martin Scorsese, who I know.
He's extraordinary. His work is extraordinary.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and he brings the best out of people. And I think he really understands actors. He is an actor, so he understands it.
You know what you would be in? That would be the greatest movie version ever done. A new rendition of New York, New York.
Oh, I've never seen that movie. I'd like to see that. Doesn't he play the sax? She sings.
Yes. De Niro does.
De Niro plays the sax.
Yeah, and you know it's about the life of?
I don't know.
Doris Day.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'd like to see that movie. It's the one Scorsese movie I've always, because it got negative press, and even as a kid, and I'm just thinking, yeah, well, you can't be that song. That song is awesome. Yeah, and she's great. He's great.
All right, so who else we're gonna fix you up with? I think that's it. Any man you want to work with?
Well, there's so many.
Nicholson, no?
I don't even know that Nicholson is working anymore. But I would love. I think I would like to. I would love to work with Nicholson. But I would love to just sit down and talk to him, because I think he's one of those people who is. I hear he's an extraordinary gentleman. He's so smart, and he seems just like a frank, honest, no bullshit guy. That's the kind of guy I'd love to have a lunch with him. But and Al Pacino, I've had the pleasure of meeting, but I would like to work with him, and I would like to observe him work. Alec Baldwin, I think it wasn't the best Trump imitation, but it captured Trump the best. And the thing that I like Alec Baldwin a lot. I like him a lot. He's a smart person, and he has a big heart. And I don't know him, so I make no judgments in terms of how he has ever been represented. But he's been very kind to me, and the few times that I've
Well, you're brilliant.
come across him, and what he did is and I love his talk show. His podcast is great. On NYC, whatever it is, I can't remember it.
Any role you want to play?
But his Trump was great, because I thought more than anything else, when you looked at his mouth, it looked like an asshole.
Any role you want to play that you've never been asked to play?
No, I can't think of any.
Female or male?
No, I can't think of one. There was a role that a playwright friend of mine had written where I would have played Superman. But it was a story about the guys who originally wrote Superman.
It would have been incredible.
But Superman comes out and goes, "You're telling it wrong," because Superman was written as a Jew. He's written by Jews, and he's landing on this weird planet where nobody understands him or his powers, and he was created by Jews, and the character was bought away from these Jews. Guy ended up in, where was he in Brighton Beach, like wandering around in shorts, going, "I invented Superman," and they were like, "That's great for you. Come on, everybody, come on, island,"
Wow, that's incredible. Do you want to say anything else before we leave?
That's all I have to say.
Incredible.
Yeah, you relax.
All right.
Okay, calm down and relax.